Hey, greetings everyone. C. Aziz Muhammad here. I go by Coach Cam, and today I just wanted to do a quick overview of the Prosperity Tax Solutions virtual tax opportunity. So I'm going to take just a few minutes to share a little bit about my story so you'll know who you're talking to and kind of how I got started in the industry. Then I'm going to share a few things with you about the opportunity. So I like to tell people I got started in this industry by accident. Almost 30 years ago, I was sitting in my office downtown Greensboro. At the time, I was a independent PNC insurance agency, meaning I sold homeowners and car insurance, stuff like that. After coming out of the United States Marine Corps, I am a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, hoorah, okay? So after coming out of the Marine Corps, I didn't want to do the traditional 9 to 5 thing, had the entrepreneurial spirit, so I decided to go into insurance because I had a good friend that was in insurance and he was doing really well. So I went downtown. Well, first I got my license, obviously, but then I went downtown and I opened up an elaborate insurance office with all the best furnishings, hired a staff, did all of this stuff because I had a little bit of savings saved up. So I just kind of jumped out there in the deep end. Unfortunately, it takes some time to build up a book of business, a book of business large enough to sustain all the overhead and expenses that I got myself into. So I was really hurting. But one day a gentleman strolled into the office, just randomly out of the blue. He said he was cold calling on insurance agents because he had an opportunity for them to introduce another stream of revenue into their business. So at the time, I was hurting, right? I used to tell people I look good, I smell good, but I was broke, right? Money was really tight. So, reluctantly, I listened to his pitch, and he represented a company called Tax Slayer. All right, and the opportunity was a tax business opportunity. So prior to that, I hadn't really thought about taxes. As a matter of fact, I was a little bit fearful of the IRS, like most people are. So I wasn't necessarily open, but I was halfway open, right? Because I needed the money. So I did get started, obviously. And that first season out, I made about $30,000. Now, $30,000 is decent money, but it's much better if you make $30,000 in 90 days, right? So that's what we did. Our first tax season, we made about 30,000. Obviously, it gave me the cash flow that I needed to pay some of my overhead and expenses that I had incurred. So we got super excited. The next year, we doubled that, right? And by the third tax season, I had really given up on being a independent insurance agent, and I was kind of focusing 100% on building the tax agency. So that's kind of my start in the industry. At one time, we had like 12 locations across North and South Carolina. But then at some point, we decided that we wanted to go with the virtual model. We all know the pandemic, caused a lot of people to want to come out of the brick and mortar situations. But to be honest, we had started moving out of that situation prior to, but that just gave us more incentive to do so. And that makes for a great opportunity when you can work virtually. You don't just have to work with people in your city or in your backyard, so to speak. You can build all across the nation. So that's what we have now. So if you give me 1 second, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just to go over some of the things we do or offer new preparers getting involved with Prosperity Tax Solutions. So I like to share this success hub with everybody that gets started, just to kind of give you an idea of how we kind of support you and some of the tools we give you when we get started. So obviously the first tab here is get plugged in. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're plugged into all of our socials, but the most important one is this private Facebook group, because we send a lot of information there. Now, I do realize there are still a few people out there that don't have Facebook. So if you got started with us and you don't have Facebook, we would try to convince you to get Facebook, but just so you can plug into this. But if that's just something you are not doing, something you're not interested in at all, we can just put you on an email email list that we send to people, that we set up for people that don't have Facebook, so that we send all the information directly to them, so that they don't have to visit that page in order to get the information. The next button here you can see is goals. All right. It's very important that when you start or prior to the tax season, you set your goals for the tax season. We kind of show you how to do that. In addition to that, we give you a form here that you can fill out and kind of send me your goals or send your goals over to the corporate team. And then that way we know what you're shooting for, and we kind of know how best to support you in reaching your goals. The next tab that you see here is going to be tools. So we have certain tools that we use, like Jotform and a AI program called Lovable, which we use to set up our landing pages, stuff like that. The great thing about Lovable is you just tell it what you want and it builds it, so you don't have to have any web site building experience. You don't have to know anything about coding or any of that stuff. The AI program does all of that for you. You just tell it what you want. So the same exact tools, websites, and landing page that I use, I have the prompts listed here. You just set up your free Lovable account, open up these links, copy and paste the prompt into your account, and you're going to have the same exact tools that I use to build my business. So it's real simple and user friendly. But obviously, when you get started, we'll get more into that. So the next tab is the training tab. So here you're going to actually be able to get software training, all right? In addition to the software training and the software walkthrough, we have some practice problems here. So even if you're a brand new person, never did a tax return before, if you go through the software walkthrough, it is pretty user friendly. We have a web-based software, so you're not downloading anything onto your computer. So when you ask me, can I use a Mac, a PC, my tablet, uh, my iPad, whatever device you have, you can use it as long as you got an internet connection and you can access the web. You can use that device to do taxes. So you don't have to be concerned about having a certain type of device in order to get started with us. But then we have these 11 practice problems here. The very first one is the most basic tax return you can do. It's a single person with one W-2, and it walks you through doing that. And then as you go through all the way to problem 11, they increase um, they increase in difficulty from 1 to 11. By the time you get to 11, you got a difficult tax return. But you go through these, and by the time you get through all of them, you're going to be very comfortable with our software. You're going to feel very comfortable and confident in taking your client's information and doing their taxes. Not only that, but I walk through each one of those um, problems myself live on Zoom, so you can see and ask questions. And if you miss the live, it's recorded and it'll be sent out to you, so you can get so you'll be able to see me or one of the staff walking through these problems. And you can actually, if you're watching the recording, obviously you can send a message to us and ask any questions you want to ask. But if you're live, you get to ask the questions live and in person. So then we also have our level one tax training, where it's a series of videos. Each video has a study guide and a quiz, right? So you go through all these. The videos are between 20 and 40 minutes long. So you can literally go through a few of these per day, and it's only 8 of them. And once you're done, you got a little quiz here that you can take just to gauge where you are with your learning. So, and then, of course, the most important thing is due diligence and compliance, right? We want to make sure we're in compliance with the IRS and doing everything right and exact. So we have training on that, but that's nothing to be concerned about, because we're going to give you and teach you everything you need to know. And then this is our mobile app, Taxes to Go app. So we give you information about that. You can actually send this app out to your customers. They can upload through a secure portal everything you need to prepare their taxes, and that information will be downloaded into your software, so that you have it right there at your fingertips and you go ahead and prepare them taxes. So that's a wonderful tool that we offer all of our preparers. And then we have our marketing tab. I love the marketing tab because obviously if you're doing taxes, it doesn't matter if you're the best tax preparer on the planet, you got to have a customer, right? So our marketing tab teaches you how to actually go out and acquire a customer. So here's our client acquisition portion. Here is our recruiting portion because we allow people to, introduce this opportunity to other people and actually build their own tax agency. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then here's our marketing hub. So when you go to our marketing hub, there's a lot of different tools there as far as flyers and brochures and videos that you can use. You can just download them and then put them on your page that you can use to promote your tax business. So we got a lot of information that we share with you. We teach and train you everything you need to know to be successful, even if you're a brand new person, never thought about taxes, never did a tax return ever in your life. We got you covered. Um, Also, we are a full service tax office. We actually can build, like I said, nationwide. You'll have a nationwide opportunity, but you're full service, meaning there's nothing that you can't do. So if a person was to walk into one of the large franchise type tax office like Liberty Tax, H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, any of those type places across the nation. There's nothing they can walk in there and get that they can't get from you. So you'll be able to have bank products where they don't have to pay out of pocket. They can allow their tax fees or their prep fees to come out of their refunds. We offer advances up to $7,500. So, I mean, electronic filing, everything like you can do this state returns in every state that has a state income tax. So everything you'll be able to do it here with us, and you'll be able to do it from the comfort of your own home or wherever you are, right? Because as long as you got that device, you can do business. Um, so I'm just kind of looking down at my notes to make sure I cover everything that I wanted to talk about. And I think I have. So the next thing I want to do is just kind of take you over to our income calculator so that you can kind of get an idea of the type of money you can make here. So everybody will have access to this income calculator. So you can come in and play with it yourself. But just to give you an idea, let's say if the average tax return, the preparation fees for the average return was $475. Now, that fee right there is what average tax return is around here where I am. It could be a little bit different where you are. So don't get caught up on this fee right now because you'll see when you get started with us, you have the ability to make adjustments with that. But just for the sake of this presentation, we're going to call it $475 is the average price of a tax return. So if I were to go out and do 150 returns, which is not a lot, right? We got a nationwide opportunity and we're going to show you how to market your business. But if I were to go out and do 150 tax returns, if you take a look all the way over here to the far right, you will see that my income for that 150 tax returns is $54,150. Now that's pretty good. I don't know about you and where you from, but where I am, $54,000 is a great income. The average household in this state of North Carolina, makes less than 54,000 per individual. I'm not talking about household income. I'm talking about per individual. They make less than $54,000. So I don't know about where you are, but if I could come and get $54,000 in 90 to 120 days, that's a good deal, right? Then we're showing people how to do that now. That it doesn't stop there. I know we have people that are a lot more ambitious. Let's say, for example, you went out and did 250 returns. See, that's $712.50. We're talking about almost a six-figure income in 90 to 120 days, doing 250 tax returns. But let's take it back down. Let's scale it back down to 150, and then let's move over here to the uh, recruiting section. And the reason we have this here, as you can see, it says recruitment goals and it says optional, right? You do not have to share this opportunity with anyone. You can come in as a preparer, build your virtual nationwide business just off of your efforts and what you do. We always tell people, though, you have the ability to build an agency, a tax agency. So just like an insurance agent has other agents working under them, and uh, when those agents do something, they earn an override, or a real estate broker have other real estate agents working under them. And when those agents sell a house, the real estate broker gets a little piece, right? An override. So you have that same opportunity. Why not take advantage of that? You get to build agents or hire tax agents all across the nation. All right. And when they uh, do a tax return and earn a commission or earn those prep fees, you get a little piece of that. So let me kind of show you how that works. So let's say you did your 150 personal. All right. You're already at 54,000. But let's say you've been able to, your first year out, hire 10 people, and we'll show you that. We have a strategy for you to hire those 10 people, right? Actually, we have a strategy for you to hire a lot more than 10 people, but we're going to be conservative and we're going to call it 10 people. And those 10 people, um, on average do the same thing that you do, 150 returns. Now, as you can see, your income just doubled almost, right? You went from 50 something thousand to 99, almost a six-figure income just because you introduced this additional revenue source or revenue stream into your business. You hired a few people, but we don't stop there, right? We allow you to earn that override through two levels of people. So if those 10 people this decide they want to do what you did, we call that duplication, right? If those 10 people decide they're going to do the same thing, then guess what? They actually go out and do the exact same thing you did, and now your income is at a quarter million, right? $249,000. Now, people think that they'll look at this model and they'll think it's sort of a network marketing model. Well, let me tell you something. This is not network marketing. So you can kind of uh, get that out of your head. This is a legitimate tax business. We're just allowing you to earn a little extra income by going out there and recruiting. So if you wanted to compare this to network marketing, you would have to compare a real estate agent to network marketing. You would have to compare a life insurance agent to network marketing because they all have similar compensation plans. I said, why not introduce that to this industry so that people can make a lot more money and get a lot more income coming into their homes? That's really um, when you see like those major tax places like I talked about, H&R Block, Liberty Tax, Jackson Hill, those are franchises, right? So when you go out and get one of those franchise, you become an asset to the franchise owner, right? So if I'm H&R Block corporate, and then I have all these little franchises out here. They pay me a franchise fee, right? So all of these franchise are assets to me. Well, this I want to liken your situation to them. Like you have the ability to go out and build all these little assets that are going to throw off income to you. So if you don't participate in this, and you don't have to, it's completely optional. But if you don't participate in this, then you are your only asset, right? And I know a gentleman named Frank Cohen back in the day. He used to always say, "There's nothing wrong with being your only asset. The only problem is if your asset don't go to work, your asset don't get paid," right? So I love that. J. Paul Getty said he'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of his own because he understands leverage income and having those other assets out there, right? So if you're sick one day, guess what? You have assets out there still throwing income off to you because not all of the assets are sick. Right? If you just don't feel like working, or you know how they used to say life is life, and for some reason you can't get anything done, you still have those assets out there working, right? So it just makes sense to take advantage of that. But it's completely optional. We're not trying to twist your arm or force you to take advantage of that. If you don't want to recruit or share this information, you do not have to do that. That's totally optional. Now, let me show you how our compensation plan works. So a brand new person with no experience getting started with us. So let's clear this out so you can see um, a brand new person with no experience getting started with us. They did 150 returns. Remember, we said they make 54,100. But let me show you how that is actually broken down. Because even though they started out at 50%, when they do their first 10 returns or get their first 10 funded returns, on the 11th return, now they're at 60%, right? And then it breaks it down. See, by the 25th return, they're bumped up to 70. And on the 50th return, they bumped up to 80. You have the ability to go all the way from 50 up to 85% in one tax season. I'm actually going to increase this to 90. So I'll be updating this calculator real soon. But you have the ability to go from 50 all the way up to 90% based on your production, right? So that is better than someone who gets started with a tax opportunity and they bring them in at 70%, right? And they're stuck at 70% for the entire season, and they have nowhere to increase, right? And that's a lot of times what you see in the traditional tax compensation plan. They'll start you off with 60%, and they say, well, you at 60 your first season, let's see how you do. And if you do okay, we'll take you to 70 or 80 or whatever your next season, right? But you're kind of locked in for the season. With us, it's progressive. When you hit these levels or these production goals, you're going to get bumped up in that same season. So let me pull up my calculator here because I just want to show you the difference. So if a person came in at let's say 70, so you're starting off at 50% and making $54,000 with 150 tax returns. A person with this same um compensation, they starting off at a 70%. Well, in another comp plan, not in ours, but in the traditional comp plan, let's say, so we're going to keep that same 475. We're going to say 70% of 475 is 332.50. So they're going to make 332.50 for every return. If you multiply that, and you may not be able to see my calculator, but pull your own calculator out, okay? Do 70% of 475, you'll see that is 332.50, right? If you multiply that times 150, that's $49,875. See, they started at 70%, they stayed at 70%. They locked into that for the season. They only made 49,875. Now, I shouldn't say only because that they still make great money, right? If you can make $49,000 in 90 days, you're doing pretty good. All right. But with us, even though we started at 50%, because we have those increases along the way, you made 54,000, right? So you made about $5,000 more, and you started at 20% less. See what I'm saying? So the great part about it is if you have experience, right? So let's say you worked somewhere last year and you were making 60%. Guess what? We'll start you off at 60% here and still allow you to get the increases as you meet those milestones, right? So you don't have to start at 50. That's just for our brand new people. You can start at a higher commission and still hit all of those milestones all along the way. So either way you slice it, you're going to make more money over here with Prosperity Tax Solutions. So last thing before we wrap it up is the reason I'm passionate and excited about this opportunity is because we can help the average person um, put extra income in their household. right? You don't have to be the sharpest knife in the drawer to do taxes. You don't have to know calculus or any fancy math. Actually, you don't have to be good at math at all. Actually, you can be bad at math because the tax software does the heavy lifting, right? So, but let me show you something here. Because before I show you this, statistics show that the average household, if they had an additional $500 to $1,000 a month coming into their house, it will make a world of difference. We're talking about $6,000 to $12,000 a year. All right, $500 to $1,000 a month. All right. It will be the difference in whether their car get repossessed. It'll be the difference in whether they get that eviction notice or whether their lights get cut off. Listen, y'all, the average household, $500 to $1,000 a month makes a world of difference. So let's look at this. If you only did let's 45 tax returns. Actually, see, you don't even need 45, so let's break it down to 40. 41. Now, 41 tax returns. Play with these numbers a little bit. All right, 42 tax returns. We almost at 12,000. That's my goal. Okay, 42 tax returns. I'll get you $12,302.50. Y'all, we can help the average person go out and do 42 tax returns and save their car, not get evicted, have a little breathing room. We're going to help ends meet, right? The average person can get started and do this and make them 12,000 for the year. Now, don't blow the 12,000, obviously. It'd be a great thing if you had enough discipline to spend to put it in some sort of interest-bearing savings account and just spend $500 to $1,000 a month. But if you didn't, it's your money. You do what you want to with it, right? So I just wanted to share that. And then in closing, I'm gonna say this. At the top of our Success Hub, we have a video that I like everybody to watch by Myron Golden. It's called The Master Key to Influence. It talks about how to beat into procrastination and how to get people to do what's in their own best interest, right? And it'll definitely help while you're out trying to acquire customers. This is a great video. I want everyone to watch it. This is also our mission statement here, but really what I want to show you is our PTS Prepare Manifesto, right? So once you're started with us, we want everyone to read this manifesto on a daily basis because it's going to reset your mindset and make sure you're in the right mindset when you start your day. So you want to read this every morning if you get started with us. So I'm going to, in closing, I'm going to go ahead and read this so you can kind of see our manifesto and kind of see the mindset we want people to have when they get started with us. So let me go ahead and read this, and then we're going to close. I am a professional tax preparer committed to excellence and service. Today I start strong. I am consistent and confident in my abilities. I am willing to run through any obstacle, fearless and fierce, because I know that disruption follows intention. The moment I commit to building my business, challenges will arise, and that's how I know I'm on the right track. I live fully, taking chances that push me towards my greatest potential. I invite wisdom and guidance in every decision, especially those that scare me, trusting that I have everything I need within me to succeed. I accept the power of my words and my actions, and I am ready to use them intentionally. I refuse to let circumstances distract or deter me. I am bigger than any obstacle. I am stronger than any challenge. I serve my clients with integrity. I build my team with purpose. I create opportunities for myself and others. Today, I choose faith over doubt, anticipation over anxiety, and action over procrastination. I am prepared. I am focused. I am unstoppable. I am the key to my success. Hey, reach out to me if you have any questions. We look forward to working with you and helping you to have an exciting, successful, profitable tax season. Let's go.